Russia will exhaust its reserves of armored vehicles by autumn. Even now, the old and new together are not enough to cover losses at the front, said veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian war, former company commander of the Aidar battalion of Ukraine, Yevgeny Diky, in an interview on Radio NV. The Russians send new stuff straight from the conveyor belt to the front, and at the same time, the old stuff goes in the same trains. That is, everything they produce and everything they take out of storage is immediately gobbled up by the front, noted Dikiy. According to the veteran, in particular, the Russians produce about 20 T-90 tanks per month, which is not a small amount because it is 4 times more than Germany produces. Plus, they remove from storage and bring to combat condition about 50 old tanks per month. So 70 vehicles arrived at the front, and during the same month, about 120 of their tanks burn at the front. In good, successful months for us, up to 150. We compare these figures, and every month, this difference between the debit and credit increases. They are taking out the old stuff, not because life is good, but the opposite. They do not have enough old stuff and new stuff together to cover the losses. That is, the reserves are being depleted almost to zero. And this zero is already very clearly visible. In terms of heavy armored vehicles, this zero will come in the fall of this year. In the fall of 2025, their heavy armored vehicles will run out, explained Dikiy, noting that the Russians will not fight with the 20 new tanks that they are capable of producing every month. According to the veteran, the old stuff is being removed from warehouses in the Russian Federation the further the older it gets. The T-55 is currently a mass-produced model at the front. We are waiting for the T-34, he added. According to him, the Russians have a similar situation with artillery. It is not for nothing that they have now started ordering absolutely exotic calibers from North Korea, which are not in service in the Russian army. They have already brought them to the front because their own are running out, noted Dikiy. He emphasized that now the Russian Federation is completely dependent on North Korea for this weapon because it cannot produce either spare parts or shells for their systems. Earlier, veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian war, Reserve Major Alexei Getman also commented on Russia's offensive potential. He believes that at the current rate of weapons production in the Russian Federation and their destruction by the Ukrainian Defense Forces, it will come to zero by 2026.
Так вот на БЗ пошли. Это пиздец просто, блядь. Давай, мужики.
Я вас провожу, я сейчас старую сумку донесу.
Это пиздец, блядь. 20-я армия. Ну, эпилепсия аж случилась.
Давай автомат донесу, потом нахуй отдам.
Ебать. На костылях человек пошел на БЗ, блядь. Ты ебанулся. Ну так вот на БЗ пошли. Это пиздец просто, блядь. Давай, мужики.
Я вас провожу, я сейчас старую сумку донесу.
Это пиздец, блядь. 20-я армия. Ну, эпилепсия аж случилась.
Давай автомат донесу, потом нахуй отдам.
Ты ебать. На костылях человек пошел на БЗ, блядь. Ты ебанулся.
"15 out of 16 Russian attacks failed to gain ground in Kursk Oblast on Saturday, according to Forbes. Kursk Oblast, a Russian region bordering Ukraine, has emerged as a critical battleground since Ukrainian forces seized a 1,000 square kilometer salient in August 2024. Control of this territory could prove to be a significant bargaining chip in any future peace negotiations, as it represents an internationally recognized Russian territory. Russian air assault forces attacked the Ukrainian garrison, rolling 8 BMD infantry fighting vehicles along the very same roads around the village of Viktorovska they've been using since November. Forbes war correspondent David Axe reports. The Russian 234th Air Assault Regiment lost half their force near Viktorovka, promoting a Ukrainian drone operator to question the tactics. I really do not understand the point of attacking at the place where they attack for the third month, said Kriegsforscher, a Marine Corps operator. The failed offensive has taken a devastating toll. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski reported that the combined Russian-North Korean force of 60,000 has suffered approximately 35,000 casualties trying to reclaim the salient from 20,000 Ukrainian defenders. The Russian counteroffensive in Kursk that began in earnest in November has shrunk, but not eliminated the Ukrainian-held salient. Russian President Vladimir Putin keeps pushing back the deadline for his forces to fully recapture Kursk after several revisions amid the overall failure of Russian attacks in the oblast. Last fall, the Kremlin extended the deadline to February, only to later abandon that deadline too. Don't be shocked if the Russians miss whatever the new deadline is. Saturday was a typical day along the Kursk front line. Russian and North Korean troops attacked from 16 directions, according to the Ukrainian Center for Defense Strategies. Just one attack resulted in any Russian gains around Viktorovka, but the Ukrainian 6th Range Regiment still controls most of the village. Bloodied and surely traumatized, some Russian troops in Kursk once again are resorting to brutal war crimes as a way of venting their frustration and, they must hope, terrorizing their Ukrainian foes. Marines from the Russian 155th Naval Infantry Brigade, one of two Russian Marine brigades that have been destroyed and rebuilt several times in the 35 months since Ukraine widened its war on Ukraine, reportedly decapitated 4 Ukrainian prisoners and displayed the heads on pikes.